Hi, nice to see you.
Hi, how are you, everyone? It took me a few minutes to connect for some reason, but we're okay.
Good.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
Oh, there she is. Okay. Hello.
Maybe we could just wait a couple more minutes. I know Jan had wanted to come on. She actually is in LA and she wanted to come in and say hello for a moment. We'll wait for a few more people. We only have 21 and we 40 signed up. So we'll just give it a few minutes.
No
My
problem.
screen shows 22 already.
Yeah.
So probably Shirley is counted.
But Shirley, it's already 10 o'clock at night.
It was hard to sign in. They didn't want to accept my email address.
Oh.
So I went in just through Zoom.
I see Jen. Jen is with us.
From Orange County.
Yeah, here she is.
Hi,
Yeah.
Susan.
Hi,
Good.
Edgar, Ellie. Nice to see you, Ellie.
Nice to see you.
Now I know what you look like, see?
Yeah, we've been on Zoom together before.
Yeah.
we've been on
Where is
Zoom together.
Susan? I
see
see
you
Susan
actually
Isaac.
Too many
Hi,
women.
Susan.
Hi.
Hi, good to see you.
Hello.
I'm looking for Gail. Where is Gail? Gail Simpson.
Gail is there.
Well, I don't see Gail. Wait,
I'm waving my hand.
wait. Hi,
And
Esther.
Jane.
Wait, I'm looking for 1 minute. I see Jen, Susan. Hi, Jen. Jen Blitz. Hi, Jen.
Hi, Shirley. How are you?
Good.
Oh, now she did.
Shirley. Shirley,
Gail,
I want to
see
introduce you
Gail.
to Cindy Lederer. She's one
Okay.
of our new members from our new Aura chapter.
Where do we have a chapter?
We
Where
have
is
a new
Cindy?
chapter, Aura chapter. Well,
Where
it's
is
been
it?
around now almost a year, but yeah, it's a new chapter.
But where is it?
At West LA.
Cindy.
It's in West LA area.
Okay.
Hi, Stacy.
So if you know anybody in the West LA area, please let us know. We want to get this really
Okay, I will.
You have to go away for 1
blossoming
second.
blossoming
So
as soon as this
Just a
COVID
moment.
stuff is over.
It'll be a while. Be
I
patient.
know.
I know.
Maybe we can find people who will join us online for all our different activities. Because Aura chapter is joining a
Let's go,
lot
it's getting
and Mitzvah
late.
for online activities.
No, Yalla.
Ann. Oh, Ann is here. Good.
Oh, I was going to say it looks like Jan is the only one who knows me here because I don't belong to any chapter here. I'm from Virginia, Arlington, Virginia.
Oh,
And I don't know
You're
any chapter.
welcome anyway.
So,
Just one
well,
second.
welcome, Lena. Where in Virginia do you live?
Arlington.
Arlington. I used to live in Burke.
Oh, that's not exactly there, but it's close to.
Yes, it's very close.
Closer than Florida then.
True. That's true.
Yeah.
Well, welcome. Glad you're joining us today.
Yeah, and I came only like for 15 minutes because I got some family event at 3:15. So I just came to take a look at all these beautiful faces and to show my face to everybody. And
Where is Esther? Esther Friedberg
Sure.
is not with us. Esther is not with us.
We don't see her.
No, don't see Esther.
He works
Esther
on,
works today, I
works
think.
Tuesday.
Yeah.
Lily, haven't seen you in a long time.
How are you?
Okay.
I'm okay. Very bored. What can I tell you?
Hi,
Glad
Lily.
you're here.
Nice to see you. Long time.
All right, so maybe we should get started. Jan, if you wanted to say a few words. We don't have, you're muted. We don't hear your audio.
she doesn't look like muted.
I'm
doesn't
having
look-
some Wi-Fi issues. I hope you can hear me.
I hear you. I definitely hear you. Jan, we don't hear you.
No.
Oh. Looks like she's coming on somewhere else.
Diana, are you in your office now or at home?
I'm at home. I'm at home.
You're not back? You're not working in the offices right now?
I go in about once a week.
Uh-huh.
Still, Marcy actually goes in every day, and Maya actually goes in, I think, once a week as well. So we're not in full time.
Because in Israel, Naamat is in full time. It's very difficult, but we are.
Right.
We are
I know
in
Canada
full-
just went back full time as well. I talked to Vivian, and she just went back last week.
I know.
So, yeah. So we're not
But
back.
it's not,
yet.
but in Israel, the pandemic is rising, and on the other hand, most places in Israel are not back, and we're quite upset that it's not it's not like every other day or something like that with two groups like it used to be. But we're actually the only place in Israel that is full completely now.
Wow.
No,
They're trying to
no,
avoid a lockdown.
What?
I heard they're trying to avoid a lockdown. I was reading an article in Haaretz.
No, they're gonna have a lockdown at the end, probably with the holidays. Even right now, it's a partial lockdown in some cities. Very difficult. Actually, our president Hagit is in lockdown. Hagit is now at home, and also our the head of our finance department and the head of our educational network. They're all now in
Quarantine? Is it Hagit in
right,
quarantine?
yeah, for 2 weeks because she was at a shiva where
I'm
so-
sure. Ugh,
and it's difficult and
wow.
most places in Israel are not back to Naamat and the
Right.
Histadrut are actually maybe the only ones who are really back to normal if they're not and it's not so good. The workers, we're quite disturbed and quite worried by it because it's just a matter of time that many people are here and there. And the situation in Israel is no good now, really.
Well, so I wanted to get started in a little bit more organized fashion. So
where Jan is with us? Because
Jan is with us. She happens to be in Los Angeles now. I don't
okay.
see her. She looks like she had trouble with audio, and I'm sure she'll come back on.
I can see her. I can see her.
So yeah. Anyway, but I just wanted to say hello and welcome everyone today. Everyone should know that this is just for the Western area. We've been doing these, smaller, more intimate group, conversations with Shirley around the country. We did it for the East Coast and the Southeast and the Midwest, and now it's for us. So that's why it's a small group, and we're hoping that, it's always good to get an update from Shirley. So just to remind everybody that to remember about the Zoom rules, and I see most people have muted themselves anyway, but you can mute and unmute if you wanted to say something or write in the chat, or at the end anyway, we'll have a chance for Q&A. Yes. But before we get started with Shirley, I wanted to introduce Ellie Cohn, who's our Western Area Director, and she just wanted to say hello. Most of you may know her and some may not.
Hi, everybody. I'm the Western Area Director, and I work here in Los Angeles, but from home now. I've transitioned to home, and I'm basically here to help all the clubs and the club boards facilitate whatever they want to do with their clubs and have your connection also to Naamat as a whole. And it's my pleasure to service you guys.
Great. And we have Honey Schulman here as well. So she's, the San Fernando Valley Council director of sorts. And anyway, she's just come back with us recently. So Honey's back in the office, I see.
And who's in the office? What's
Honey,
her position?
do you know Honey Schulman, Shirley?
No.
She's waving. We're not hearing her, but she.
Wait, I don't see her. 1 minute. Let me look for her.
Look for her. She's raising her hand.
1 minute.
You see her?
Okay, Honey. Yeah, what is Honey's position again?
She is in the office manager and a director for the San Fernando Valley Council. So she does the council. Ellie is the area director, and Honey has been with us longer than I've been here doing the San Fernando Valley Council business. So, and she was gone since March, and she just came back a couple weeks ago.
So Honey is the office director.
Yes, of the council.
And I work with Honey. I'm the council president.
Right, that's Roz Porton, who's the San Fernando Valley Council president.
Okay, and Marcy is also in the office, right? I saw Marcy also.
Right, so
with us.
Marcy is here, and she actually isn't here right now. She's on the phone dealing with something. And Maya Stark, you've met Maya, Shirley, correct? She's our membership manager in the national office.
Yeah, I met Maya and I saw her here 1 minute. Where is Maya? Yeah, hi Maya.
Hi, Naimod.
Naimod. Right, I remember. And Maya is membership?
Membership
Yes,
manager, yes, on a
yes.
national level, the national office.
Right, and Marcy is now the finance?
Marcy is now our finance manager, yes. And we're looking
Okay.
for a replacement for an administrative assistant. So if anybody knows anybody, let me know.
And Honey is not in the national office or what?
No,
I
and
didn't-
he's in the council office along with the area and the council. So,
I see.
yes. Okay, they're close though. They're literally the next town over. So it's actually close. And we may be merging offices come the new year because we have to move and they have to move and we might be merging just to kind of consolidate things. So that remains to be seen. Anyway,
Okay,
so with that said, welcome Shirli Shavit. I know you've been on vacation for the last couple of weeks. Welcome back.
Us? No. Already 2
You're back a
weeks.
week.
Actually, not really vacation this time, but we were off for like 2 weeks in the from 10th of August, but we're back already for 2 weeks or so.
Yeah.
But also vacation was not really this time, so was really half time, not
Right.
really.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
can't really go anywhere and can't, I know
Not
that.
only, yeah, but it was, we had to prepare for the open. I will tell you, I mean, it was not really like normal years, of course not. But we're
Yeah.
back already for like 3 weeks.
Is it that long already? My gosh.
Yep.
Time flies.
Right.
Anyway, so I know, from hearing from you, you started mentioning today, as well as talking to my family and people that, everyone knows that things in Israel. My sister said that Israel has the worst per capita infection rate in the world right now. So I don't know. What does that mean for you and for Naamat?
Okay, first of all, hi everyone. Oh, here I see Jan now. Great. Hi,
Yeah,
Jan.
I think I can talk now, so I want to give greetings to everybody and wish everybody a happy new year. And I'm really looking forward to hearing Shirley and an update on the schools and how things are going in Israel. It's great to see you, Shirley. Thank you.
Thank you. Great to see you too. Great to see everybody. And most important is everybody's well and healthy. So
Everybody
that's,
here anyway.
this is most important, and I'm glad to see everyone. Anyway, so let me give you some updates about Naamat and the opening of the school year and what is really going on in different places. Okay, it was really until we opened the school year, we opened on September 1st. But we've been working on opening the school year actually the whole month before that. And we were not even sure if we will open on September 1st. And just because we were not going to open, since we got no compensation from the government for all the costs and all the special needs that we need for the pandemic, and the big loss of money that Naamat had because it was the daycare centers were closed for about a month and a half. About 10% of the children, even more, did not come back to the centers after they were open because their parents are unemployed. So we were not going to open because the government did not do anything until 2 days before we did open. 2 days, even less. The day before, September 1st, finally the government promised, Naamat and the other organizations, we made a big campaign regarding this issue. And the government finally decided to give us at least, they promised, we didn't get it yet, but they did make a promise that within the next few weeks, we will get some kind of a compensation for all our expenses and also future expenses. It did not happen yet, but at least we got a firm promise. So we did open the school year on September 1st. but it was very difficult. Just to give you an idea that since the pandemic started until, our daycare centers are open till August, like August 8th. So when the pandemic started, it was like March, until we had to close it, for the summer vacation. About almost 20 of our daycare centers had to be closed and reopened because of the virus. And this makes a lot of problems. And this year already, since September 1st, about 5 daycare centers that we opened had to close. After a few days, we had to close at least part of the classrooms because of the pandemic, because of some of the caregivers, for example, if they, had the virus or they were next to somebody who has it, like in the States. But with working with children and such a big staff, this is very, very difficult.
So if a caregiver tested positive, the whole school was closed down?
The whole classroom.
The classroom.
The classroom. But if this caregiver was in contact the day before with the other caregivers, but we do try to make all kind of regulations and safe features, but it all depends. It changes. It changes according to the specific situation. The way we did also with new children, okay? Because we always have children who return to the daycare center from last year, and we have new ones that come when they're young. Now we had to, how do you accommodate new children at this situation? We had to do it in much smaller group, and we did in like groups of, I have this written down because I spoke to our supervisor. What we did is that 4 to 6 children maximum in one group, with one parent for about an hour to get used to the caregiver, to get used to the center. So think how this works. If we have, for example, 80 children in a daycare center, we had to make so many meetings. Each one is for about an hour to an hour and a half, depends if it's a new child or an older one who comes back to the center after 1 year. We made like personal meetings with 4 to 6 children, with a caregiver, with one parent for like an hour and a half. And then the next group. This goes on for like a few days for 8 hours. It's like, it's very difficult. But we did it. And now all the daycare centers are open and are working. But as I said, this changes daily. Here we had to close a whole center. And here we had to close some of the classrooms. We are doing the best we can. We opened 3 new daycare centers this year. This is something happy, and this is something that we are so satisfied and proud of. Actually, a week and a half ago, I was in Nahariya. We opened a new daycare center in Nahariya. We will open one in Tel Aviv very soon and one in Kiryat Yam. And this is great. I will send you also photos of the new daycare center in Nahariya. It's remarkable. It's not far from the northern border near Lebanon, a neighborhood with many young couples. But this is something great, and the 80 children are going to this new daycare center. This is something that we are very proud of. And these days, it's not, it's something great and something that makes us proud and optimistic for the future. That's regarding the daycare centers, but the situation is very difficult. We did renovations in the summer as much as we could, and we're trying to deal with, the expenses, and we're running into quite many problems, but we're doing our best, whatever we can. Now regarding the educational network, okay?
So, Shirley, are the expenses related to just all of the PPE and maybe the plastic dividers, or what are all the
Not only the expenses, yes, the expenses are also, to make everything, alcohol and the plastic and the masks and so on and so forth. We have to clean much more, like, everywhere. But the problem is, as I said, that also more than 10% of the children did not return. So we have a reduction and a significant decrease in all the funding that we get, the income from the daycare centers. On the other hand, we have to make renovations, which we did. We had to do some compulsory renovations in many of our daycare centers, new playgrounds and so on. Otherwise, we would not be able to open them because, you know, these are the regulations. So we're coping with quite many problems. In addition to the pandemic, there are also other expenses, but because this whole problem caused Na'amat, since the corona broke out, you know, in March, such a decrease in funding, the situation is quite difficult. So it's everything together to your question.
Yeah.
Now regarding our educational network. We are not doing distance learning. It was almost impossible. Our children, as you know, our students are excuse me, many of our students come from families, you know, deprived families, and they have a lot of learning problems. It was very difficult for them to do distance learning. Some of them did not even have a computer at home. It was very hard for them to concentrate. Hi, Esther. I'm glad Esther joined us. Hello.
Sorry.
That's okay. So what we did, we are doing the you know, studying from school, but we're doing it in smaller groups, in separate classrooms. We're trying to cope with what we can, the best we can. We're doing additional by Zoom in the evening hours, but most of the learning is done now, not distance learning, but rather within the school premises. And therefore we need also, as you said, Diana, all the extra, you know, we have to adapt ourselves to all the regulations, with all the cleaning and with all the distance learning and the social distance and so on. So this is very difficult. Let me tell you about Kanot. Well, this is regarding the high schools.
Yeah.
Yes. Now about Kanot and Ayanot. I would really love to tell you about Kanot because I was just there also. Just a few days ago, I went to visit them to see, you know, how the school year began. In Kanot, we have now 660 students. This is unbelievable. It's one of the biggest youth villages in Israel. 660 students. We have 200 new students this year. This is remarkable. 200 meaning that's in 7th grade, okay, 7th graders, and also in other classrooms, but mostly the new ones in 7th grade, but also other classrooms. Just for you to understand, Kanot, it's also in the area where I live, so I hear, you know, what the people around me and what the population, not Na'amat, but what the prestige of Kanot and the reputation of Kanot. And Kanot went such a long way that right now, in order to be accepted to Kanot, 1 out of 4 students were accepted to Kanot this year. Meaning that we can't, you know, we don't have enough place for more. So we did it, the maximum is 660. 1 out of 4 students were accepted. Chezi, you know, the principal, I spoke to him, I met with him. And he said to me that this is unbelievable. Only 25% of the students that wanted to be accepted were accepted because there is not more place, and you know, we have to keep in classrooms and to give each one the best attention. And I want to really salute you and really thank you so much for, I saw that in your newsletter, you started a campaign for Kanot, right, Diana?
Absolutely, yeah.
Right. And the campaign for Kanot is very, very important and very necessary because we are lacking computers. Because right now, also because of the pandemic, they are studying in the school, but they need in the afternoon and evening hours, because they have to do it in smaller groups. Part of them are studying if they're in the dormitory from their rooms, so they need more computers in the rooms. They are lacking also air conditioning, and the campaign that you started is really, really great and very, very essential for us. So I really want to convey our appreciation for you for choosing Kanot. And many of you visited Kanot, and this is really one of Na'amat flagships, and we are so proud of the staff, the teachers, the students, and this is, you know, I'm really glad to tell you because 660 is a huge amount of number. The whole Our educational network is 3,000 students, all of our network. And out of the 3,000, 660 are just in Kanot.
Wow.
So you can understand, you know, the needs there. And we're really happy that it is working well, and they are all in the premises and studying in the classrooms and in the rooms and all in the village. So this is really great.
So when the teenagers come to Kanot, do they come with the computer or do you provide the computer? How does that?
They don't come with, no, we provide. They don't.
provide
If they have a cell phone, then it's they have a cell phone, but that's maximum. They do not come with a laptop. We provide the computers in the rooms, and the ones who are external, you know, some of them are, we have in the dormitory, out of the 660, 360 live in Kanot, okay? 360 students live in Kanot, in the dormitories. So we provide them with the computers, but not only for them, also the ones who are, you know, coming from the outside are not sleeping there, but they are there all day till the evening. Okay, we call it a day dormitory, like they don't sleep there, but they get all the help and they get all the empowerment and they get all of it. And for them also, we have to provide many times, we have to provide, you know, the computers, so they will have it in their homes. This is depends, but there are students that we have to help them as well.
So I didn't realize that half of the students lived there and half are day students.
Even more than half. What? Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, 360 live there, 300 come in the morning, but till 7, 8 in the evening.
Uh-huh.
They just don't sleep there, but they are from the surrounding areas, and they don't sleep there, but they are there much more than a regular high school where they, you know, till noon, but it's actually till the evening with extracurriculum activities, with the learning center that is helping each one with, you know, we have our volunteers and our teachers. So yes, Kanot is open during the pandemic. Susan, to your question, yes, it is open during the pandemic. There was some time that we had to send the children at home when there was a complete lockdown. But as the educational system opened in Israel, the students are back in Kanot and we are doing our best.
Have you made changes to the dorms or into the, you know, how the children are living so closely together?
Yeah, we that's the thing. We had to, yes, we made some separation. You know, some rooms who were too, the old buildings they were too close. So we did our best. You know, we have to accommodate according to what we have. But yes, we did our best, and they're going with the masks and the alcohol gel and everything, doing the best we can. At this point, everything is okay. But yes, we are doing whatever we can, of course, with the social distance and so on. So that's Kanot, and Ayanot also basically the same, but smaller and much smaller. It's almost half of Kanot. And let me tell you about the Glickman Center as well. You know, our Glickman Center for the Treatment and Prevention of Domestic Violence. As you know, and I reported already in our last Zoom meetings, actually the Glickman Center is called now the House of Naamat for the family, which gives services for, you know, of course, battered women, violence in the family, domestic violence. I don't have to repeat myself because this you heard over and over that the rise in domestic violence is something that is unbelievable, and we are coping on a daily basis with this problem.
Excuse me, can everybody mute themselves? I'm hearing a lot of background noise. Thank you.
I will tell you I will tell you in brief, just some, you know, just a couple of stories of women that just left the Glickman Center, which I just heard from our social worker, and I go a lot to the Glickman Center also to meet with the staff. But let me tell you something new and unique that we are working on these days, and it will be part of the Home of Naamat Glickman Center. We will be opening a center for fathers, okay? Merkaz le'avot. Avot is fathers, a center for fathers, for men, okay? In the Glickman Center, where we're not talking necessarily about battered men, okay? Battering men. We are talking about fathers, okay? Fathers who want who feel that they want to be better fathers, that they want to deal better in the family, that they want to be better parents. And this everything is on the same, how can I explain it? Actually, it's the same issue, because when we talk about preventing domestic violence, when the father feels that he's a good father, excuse me, when the relationship between the father and the children is a good relationship, then a lot of times this reflects on the relationship with the mother, okay, with the couple. So according to what we know, and according to our professionals, we want to do something which is very new. It's very creative, and it's one of its kind in Israel. This is something that we are working on in the last already a few months, thinking of this new idea, and we will be opening the Center for Fathers, okay, within the Glickman Center. I believe that this will be something that will attract many people to us, hopefully, and will enable us also to expand our services for men, for families, and for women.
Is that
Just
basically counseling and workshops?
No, Susan, no. The answer to your question is no. They were not accused of domestic violence, the fathers. No, not necessarily. Maybe in the past, but no, this is not the issue. The issue is fathers that feel that they want to behave better, and they want to be better parents, and they want to, just manage better within their families. That's one step before domestic violence, hopefully. Hopefully.
So again,
what was your question, Diana?
Is it providing counseling and workshops? Is that basically what it is for the men, for the fathers?
The men, it will be in workshops. We actually recruited one of the professionals, a man, that we were in touch with him at the Glickman Center a few years ago, and he's a specialist. He's a social worker. He deals with men. This will be probably in workshops, but also personal counseling. Yeah, it will be in different services. Actually, we are building it in these days. So I'm telling you the idea, the initiative. Once I will know more information, I will let you know, of course. Just for you, it's always interesting to know things that are happening right now. So as I said, in the last 2 weeks, 3 women left the shelter, okay, after 1 full year. And it's a long time. Usually our women stay an average of 6 months. We had 3 women who stayed at the shelter in the Glickman Center for a year or a bit more than a year. I want to share with you, in brief, their stories. One of them, she's from Ethiopia. Her name, it's not the real name. Let's call her Tamar. She's 32 years old. She came to the shelter when she was at life risk. She was almost murdered, okay, by her spouse. Her spouse was an alcoholist, okay, and she came. This is a very severe story. She really literally came in the middle of the night over a year ago with 2 daughters. Today, right now, they are 9 and 15. And she, by the way, she's Ethiopian, and she's her aunt was just murdered a month ago in Israel. Okay, her aunt from the family was murdered a month ago. Okay. So this is really a very dramatic story. Anyways, she's now much, much, much better. She was divorced when she was in the Glickman Center. She was divorced. She's empowered. She's much better right now with her daughters. She went through a very drastic therapy during this whole year for her and for her daughters. She's much, much better now. Now she just left the shelter. We're in touch with her, and I can tell you one thing, that she is also in close contact with the police because of her family, and because of the life risk that she was. She is in, she has like special attention from the police also at this point when she left the shelter. So this one lady that just left. Then we had one more. I will tell you just in brief one more. We have actually three of them, but to make it brief, one more. We have this woman. Let's call her Hannah. Okay, she was also in the shelter for a year. She came with 3 children. Okay, right now there are 2, 4, and 9. I mean, when she came to the shelter, her young daughter was less than 1 year old. 1 year old. And she went also through very, thorough therapy. Also, her children were in such stress when they arrived that even the 4-year-old barely spoke. Okay, he was in trauma, so he really could not speak very much. And he went through this therapy, and the 9-year-old boy said to our social worker, just before they leave, we speak to them, we see the situation all the time, we follow them, and when we made the conclusion and so on, he said to the social worker, you don't believe where we came from. We came from war. You rescued us from the war. That's what he said to our social worker. Those of you that know Hebrew, he said, Itzaltem otanu mimilchama. Okay? You rescued us from war. The war was in their house. Okay? So this is just, for you to understand what we are doing in the Glickman Center, what we have to deal with on an everyday basis. And the last thing that I want to share with you, and then, we'll leave it for, of course, Q&A. Something that I mentioned also in our last meeting, I think with the Eastern area, and this is one of our flagships and one of your flagships, and we appreciate all your efforts regarding the scholarship project for for university students, women students. We give, every year we give close to 200 scholarships for bachelor and master degree, and we give 8 research grants for PhD students. We gave out all the scholarships for the students. Usually we have a ceremony, an annual ceremony. Unfortunately, because of the situation, we could not hold an annual ceremony. So what I did, this is all in my department. We sent all the, all the scholarships. It's 2,000 shekels, which is about $600, something like that. We send it to the regional chairpersons, and they made smaller events. They made smaller gatherings according to the regulations, and handed out the scholarships for the students. Now, for the PhD grants, which is something much even more unique, just these days, I'm in contact with our PhD recipients. We have 4 in gender studies, okay, and 4 in neurobiology and cognition. These are PhD recipients, unbelievable, from the Weizmann Institute, from the Technion, from all the leading universities, and each research grant is 10,000 shekels, which is really very meaningful for them. And it was very difficult, very hard to choose, because we got quite a lot of requests. What we will be doing, I will be speaking to them just now before Rosh Hashanah. We will give them the research grants because they depend, and it's very important for them. We don't want to keep it, and we want to help them. But during Hanukkah, in a few months, hopefully that the situation will be a bit better. We will be able to hold some kind of a ceremony with them, to give them and to give them the honor and to hear them, and to do it like we do every year, perhaps in a smaller, not in such a big participation. We'll see what we'll be doing. And then I will speak to them also to do some kind of a Zoom meeting together with NAMAT USA and perhaps NAMAT Canada. I will make some kind of an event, because this is something that is, really, we are so proud of it. And as I always I want to thank you all again for all your efforts in this special project, because if you would meet the students and see their appreciation, especially right now, especially during the pandemic and at all times, but especially now, because there's so much unemployment and it's so difficult. And in Israel, we're talking about not just the health crisis, but we're talking very much about the economic crisis. And this is something that affects so many young families. So any help that we can do is so much appreciated. Okay, I think I gave you like an overall, but I'm open for questions or comments or
I'd
whatever.
like to ask you just a couple of questions. I had heard, I think it was in Hagit's video that you had sent, she mentioned something about the purple tag.
Yeah.
What is that?
The purple tag in Israel, Atav Sagol in Hebrew, are the regulations that you have to follow. Meaning, for example, we cannot do an event more than 30 people within a room. Like if you do, I wanted to make a ceremony, for example, and I checked how many I can have. Maximum was 30 in a big room, 2 meters from one to the other, of course, with masks and so on. It's all the regulations, also in public places. For example, just a minute, I have to hire my air condition. You know, it's so hot in Israel these days, crazy.
It's not cold here.
Anyway, so it's all the regulations that you have to follow because of the pandemic in restaurants, in public places, in workplaces, in the daycare centers, everywhere, in schools, everywhere.
Yeah, same here.
Shirley, I have a question.
Yeah.
The abused women in the Glickman Center.
Who's talking? Who is talking?
Tzipi.
Oh, Tzipi, hi, yeah.
Hi. In the Glickman Center, the abused women are the most Ethiopians?
No. We have, it's from all over. It's Ethiopians, Israelis. Of course, we accept also Arab women all over. And no, not necessarily.
I'm happy to hear that. Yeah, thank you.
I wanted to ask something else. This is just almost from a personal point of view, but my sister, who lives in Israel, she mentioned that most of the outbreaks, most of the infections are in the Haredi towns and with, Arab towns. I mean, that's what my sister is telling me. And is that true? I mean, not to,
okay.
I don't know.
I'll tell you. No, I'll tell you. This is a big concern from all of us. First of all, the answer is yes. The answer is yes, that most of the cases that are a lot in the Haredi towns and also in some Arab villages, but not only. I mean, when you say most, over 50% is always most. But if it's 60% and 40% are all the others, then it's a lot of also all the others. For example, Ashdod, okay? Ashdod is a city not far from where I live. So in Ashdod, there are also neighborhoods of a lot of Haredim, right? So, but in Ashdod, it's not only there, it's also in other neighborhoods, because the thing is this, if they live, the Haredim, they don't live just in a few towns, it's all over. So, and the population gets, it's not only, but a big percentage is Haredim, and a big percentage is also some Arab towns. But it's not only, and I would not like also to say that it's only because of them or something. No. The Israelis are not how we say it in English? Israelis many times are not so, not like Canadians, for example. You tell them to put a mask, they will never leave the house without a mask. They will not go anywhere without a mask. Israelis are not always like that. Some take more care, and some not enough. And even for example, when I go in my town, my hometown, which is not a big town, but and sometimes I see, most people take care of it, but not all. And when I go into something that I have to purchase, and I see somebody not really with a mask, I would say, please, put a mask or don't get so close. People are trying to, but most people understand and they abide by it, obey by it. How do you say it?
Yeah.
Right.
Following the rules. What?
Yeah, follow the rules, but not all. And then somebody would say, don't worry, it's okay. So no, you have to, obey the rules. And this is a problem. Therefore, a lockdown, I believe that in the high holidays, actually, I think that they should do a lockdown, at least for a few days, and not make all the ceremonies, because some people, don't obey the rules, and then it reflects on everybody else. What is the situation now in LA in public places?
We have the same thing going on here where you're supposed to wear masks. Unfortunately, it's become a political issue. So it's now the Democrats wear the masks and the Republicans don't, and they're proud of that. We've got some towns that are, you know, not in favor of following the rules, and other towns that are very good. Where we live, I'm very happy to say, and this is Southern California in our town, everywhere I go, everything I do, people have masks on. They're very polite. If you're in the grocery store, they make way when you're walking down the aisles.
Larry, can you get it?
What the grocery stores are cleaning the
Aisles.
the carts. So it's, you know, I'm very proud of what's going on here, but you do have groups of people. You just had that big motorcycle gathering in South Dakota or something, you know, thousands of people, shoulder to shoulder, no masks, in bars, you know, and they leave there and go back to their homes and they're spreading the virus. So
same thing at the beach. There's a lot
Look,
of
your president gave such a great idea, such a great example for the whole world. We were shocked when we saw it. I must tell you, we were shocked when we saw
not
the
wearing a mask,
convention.
or
yeah,
No
and
mask, nothing.
yeah. So we haven't had good role modeling in this country, which is probably why our country is the worst in the world right now. You know, I'm so sad about Israel because it looked like Israel was really on top of it in the beginning, and there were so few cases, and then, you know.
The problem here is each state has their own rules.
Right.
So government of one state said, it's not up to me to tell the people to wear masks. Each mayor in the community needs to tell the people. So it's not just a president thing. It's more of each state wants to be its own and do its own.
I'm not
We're
sure
not
that
cohesive.
I'm not sure that each state wanted to do its own. I think that by default, it landed in each state's governor's hands to figure out what to do in the state, because there really wasn't a national plan. The national plan was let everybody figure it out for themselves. And I think that's where we went wrong.
Yeah. Would have been a national lockdown right from the beginning.
It would have been much better.
Yeah.
Hi, Susan.
That's correct. This is Esther. That's correct. So there wasn't a national plan, and that's really what's the problem.
Yeah.
And that's what states had to fend for themselves. And so now it's a little bit, and it's as you said, it's unfortunately it's become political and not really a health-wise situation. But here in Los Angeles, thank God, LA County, I think the numbers are holding, they've gone down. And so we're doing okay so far.
Yeah.
Are there flights within the states? Many people fly back and forth in the states?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
But many people aren't going on planes, Shirley. Some of the airlines.
What?
Many
I
people
didn't
are trying to go on a plane.
Yeah.
In
Israel, we don't fly almost.
With the skipping seats, so you're not right on top of somebody sitting in a plane for a couple hours. I mean, my son wouldn't even fly a 2-hour flight from California to here, but now it's getting better. Our rates are down, and you can go with Southwest Airlines, which is the empty seats next to you, so you're not breathing in somebody else's breath or sneeze or anything else while you're on the plane. And you have to wear it throughout the airport too when you're going somewhere. So you got that mask on for quite a few hours then.
Yeah. Shirley, I wanted to ask you one other question. I know that NAMA USA had sent in, various funds for renovations, including, I was just thinking about the Cherish Playground in Sturroat and some of those things. Are they happening, or are they on hold, or due to, just wondering?
No, we did playgrounds. For example, we did the one in Tveria, Nitzanim. We're just almost finished. We did the ones that are most urgent. We did not do the one yet in Sderot, because in Sderot, as I explained before, is not so urgent as we have the playground. This is an additional one, which will be great, but it's not urgent right now. And we did just the most urgent in this summer. We do have to do some more, and it's in planning in Sderot, but it's not working as normal times, and we were not even able to do as much as we needed, just also because of funding, first of all, and also because of the manpower. This one is in lockdown, the other one, it's much more difficult.
Yes. How is the not hotline going for domestic violence? How's the hotline?
Continuing as it was before. We get a lot of, also in the hotline for domestic violence, and also in our legal bureaus. I really did not relate to that, but we have a lot of women and families turning to our legal bureaus, to our lawyers, regarding all problems of, problems within the family, all kind of, trusts, and people want to do bequests, whatever, older people who feel more, more afraid of what the future will bring. We have a lot of cases in labor, regarding labor, the labor market, and working women who were on leave and are not, they actually were fired because of the corona. There is so much unemployment. There's almost 25% unemployment in Israel, and this is a very major problem, a huge economic crisis. Many Israelis at this point, I must tell you, are more concerned of the economic situation than of the health situation, because the health this will be solved, and this will be okay. And actually, usually the pandemic, if you don't have other sickness, or you overcome, or younger people, it does not, it's not so hard upon them. But what's really hard with young couples, young families, families with young children, very, very difficult economic situation, very, very difficult. And this causes a lot of problems. It causes crime, it causes domestic violence, it causes depression. This is if you would ask the average Israeli, he will tell you that he's more concerned and more worried about what the future will bring in matters of the family, regarding to make a living and work and financial and all that.
Yeah. So let me ask you another question. Has any of our scholarship recipients, or is anybody studying on creating a new vaccine for the virus?
One of the women who received our science grant in the scientific regarding neuroscience, neurobiology, does her research on bats. Okay, and many people's, and she also is an advisor of the United Nations. She gives her advice. She's very special. So this relates to the pandemic, and she's now also an advisor to the, I will send you, once I have to get from them these days, a summary, and I will ask some, some personal information of each one, and I will send you their major research and what they are dealing with. But one of them is involved, something that relates to the pandemic. Yes.
Bats.
Right.
Does anyone have any other questions?
Yes, Shirley. It's Jane.
Hi, Jane.
Hi, Jane. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. I'm very happy to hear about that. We're going to start treating or working with men who are concerned about violence, because I do paraprofessional counseling through a center at my temple. And one of the things that we've noticed is we're getting young couples coming in, and not everyone, you don't have to be Jewish for the counseling. You don't have to be temple members. These are people from the community. And we are having young people come in, and they're very concerned because they both grew up in homes of violence, and they don't want their children to have the same thing. And it's just been very interesting in the last year or so that we have seen these parents coming in, both, you know, as couples and sometimes as individual. But, you know, the woman is afraid that the husband will turn into her father-in-law, and the husband is afraid he's going to turn into his father. And so they really, yeah, we're working with them on
very, very important. This is very, very important.
Yeah, so I'm happy to hear that the Glickman Center is doing the same thing.
Yes, yes, this is something that we, you know, you always have to turn to men to the other side and in order to make it for the women and for the family, to make it better for everyone. So yes, it's a good idea, and glad that you are doing it too. Great.
Shirley?
By the way, Jen, I just want to tell you that the daycare center in memory of your mother in Be'er Sheva is flourishing, full of children, working very, very well.
Good. I will let everyone know. What about the one in Sderot? That was
also working very well. And we opened a new daycare center also in Sderot. So we have now three daycare centers. We used to have two. We have now another one, which opened already at the end of last year.
Yeah, that's phenomenal. But my mother would be so happy about those both daycare centers. Yeah,
I'm sure, and we remember her so much.
Yes, I wish I could talk to her about what's going on, everything now.
Should have trouble understanding it. Shirley, I have a question about travel to Israel. What is this current status of quarantines if somebody was coming to Israel? And what's
from United States, I think it's 2 weeks quarantine.
It's still 2 weeks. And what is the state of
from the States. I understand that, for example, I think from Germany, you don't have to go quarantine, but from the States, I think yes.
And what's the status of El Al?
What?
The status of the Israeli airline, El Al.
It's flying, but much less flights. I don't recommend right now to come. No, not at this point. Maybe, hopefully a bit later on, but right now, I'm so sad to say it, but it's rising from day to day. So I want to be optimistic that, you know, we'll pass through the holidays and that things will finally, you know, stabilize and be better. I have a question. Yeah, Susan, sorry.
A question in the chat room. You know, a lot of charities here in the US, they adopt families like over the holidays and this. Is there any way we can connect more specifically with certain families? Like that story about that Ethiopian woman really touched my heart. And is there any, like if I wanted to send her something, a donation direct, is that possible?
I can ask specifically the Glickman Center with your question, but there is no way for us like to connect families, you know, because we try to help if we know that there are like extreme problems in different families, we're trying to help them, but it's not something that we do like, you know, organized, but for example, I can ask, you know, at the Glickman Center what the situation is with, for example, with this Ethiopian woman. But yes, we help like we did in Rosh Hashanah. If you're not Rosh Hashanah, sorry, Pesach. If you remember, we did the emergency campaign, which you also helped us. So we literally made, you know, boxes of food, and we gave it to certain families in our youth villages. Some of our caregivers, we just made, you know, we bought groceries, things that are needed, and we gave to some of our either employees or students in our youth villages for their families and so on. So yes, we do, we are in contact with the families, and we're doing the best we can, but also we're also limited because of financial. But yes, we are trying to do our best, of course, or to make connections with the welfare or so on.
Shirley, it's Janet. I recall there were issues also of privacy, of families, of not giving names and not connecting them directly to us. So it would be kind of, I think, with the idea of one is how do you select a family, and the other is how do you maintain their privacy.
Well, I have a question about, or a comment about that, if I may. What if the Glickman Center and or daycare centers would send us like a wish list and say, you know, we have families that need a crib, we have families that need a toy or whatever, and somehow we could send money as opposed to sending the item, because I was thinking of Amazon. You know, we're doing some things like that with Amazon Smile, where we're given a list of things and you go on and you order through Amazon and it goes to the client. But I don't think.
Yeah, I will tell you, but we cannot start in AMAT doing something big regarding to the families, because what we're trying to do is to get all the needs that we need for our students in the youth villages, like computers and so on, furniture and so on, for daycare centers as well. We cannot, do it specifically for the families. If there are families that we know that are in need, we're doing our best either to get, some donations from community to help them. Or for example, in Glickman Center, okay, many of the women that come to the Glickman Center have nothing with them. So we get donations for clothing, we get donations for furniture, we get donations for school bags. We're doing our best in the youth villages, okay? With some of the donations, we also buy, school bags, we buy sport shoes. Many of the students come, they also need much better clothing and so on. So we purchase with the need. But one second, but what I'm saying is that if you want to be creative, you can do whatever you feel and how you should approach your members. But if you want to approach your members, towards Rosh Hashanah, saying about the students in our youth villages, saying about the children at risk in our multi-purpose centers, you should write whatever you believe will affect your members or will influence your members, because anything that you do will help us. And we do it according to, the needs, like we did it with the emergency fund.
So we could collect money for
a
daycare center in Tel Aviv that has a lot of children at need or whatever.
The best would be for multi-purpose centers for the children at risk. We have 2,000 children at risk under AMAT in all our multi-purpose centers. We have 2,000, it's the biggest in Israel, okay? 2,000 children at risk in 23 multi-purpose daycare centers. And this is something that AMAT deals many years. Now, towards the holidays, there's always a need in these families, always a need in these families for everything, for food, for clothing, anything that people buy and need for the holidays.
How many people did you say you had in the multi-purpose?
We have 2,000.
Okay.
2,000 children at risk. It's a huge amount of number, and it's the biggest women organization. No other organization in Israel, not only women, have so many children at risk under its supervision.
Shirley, if there's a lockdown during the high holidays, how does that affect our not AMAT facilities? And like day kids at Canot, are they just off and not going, or how does that affect
if there is a lockdown, if there is a complete lockdown, usually they, like we had at the beginning, they cannot be at the schools, they cannot be at the village. But because in Canot, there are some students who are really at very high risk at home or whatever, and their families, they cannot stay at home, then we keep them in the village. But this is only a small number. We did that, but not all of them, because according to the regulations, we're not allowed not to open daycare centers, nothing. But in Canot, because of the situation, we kept some of them also when it was complete lockdown, yeah.
Thank you.
Anyways, all of you are, I want to ask you, are any of you, how many we have with us? About 25?
20s, yeah, 23 now. People have dropped off.
23. Anyways, those that are with us, do you follow our NAMAT International Facebook or the NAMAT USA Facebook? Any of you are connected to it? Susan, you are for sure.
Yeah.
What about the others? Do you follow? Do you see your Facebook?
I think a lot of us are on, I see other members on the international Facebook. No,
I
not
see Facebook.
We ask people to follow our page every day and your page. So, yeah.
And do you think people follow it according to what you feel, Diana?
I think people that are comfortable with Facebook follow it. And there are people who don't want to join Facebook, don't understand it, don't want to deal with it. So, but people who
that's why I send all the information, a lot of the information also on NAMAT News, and then I see that there are many women who don't. Yeah, okay, I understand.
I get a lot of your emails, so I get most of,
Yeah, I send it by email, exactly. Yes. So this is the reason, because
My
I know
Facebook I
many
have.
do not follow. Anyways, all of you are getting ready for Rosh Hashanah?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you will
Shirley,
be able,
can I be included in your email list?
sure, send me an email with your email and I will add you to the NAMAT News. I think it's even compulsory that you will be there.
Thank
Sure.
you.
Yes, with pleasure. Will you be able to invite families to your Rosh Hashanah dinner, or you're not sure yet? Because in Israel, if we have a lockdown, then we can't invite anybody because we'll not be able to travel anywhere with our cars. What's the situation with you?
Most of us gonna do it on Zoom.
Oh, really?
Oh, I'm gonna do it with just our
That's what we
meeting.
did for Passover.
Yeah.
Okay, but if you do in Zoom, you have to cook less, so that's not
That's
so
right.
bad.
And set the table less. Definitely. Clean up less.
And it's just not
Anyways,
the same feeling of,
no.
even our temple services be on Zoom, and you don't see anybody. You don't get to say hello, shake hands, how are you? It's not the same. I mean, we did a Shavuot service. To me, it just was like nothing, not to be able to talk to friends and that you don't see every week. I just find it kind of strange. The only thing they're doing in person is touchless.
I see.
Yeah, nothing is quite.
Anyways, I really want to wish all of you, and please send to those, also my greetings to all there are many chaverot that I do know from the Western area who could not join us. So please send everyone our best wishes, and my personal wish, first of all, for good health, for a better year, for good health for everyone. And let us hope, and let us be optimistic also, that next year in Rosh Hashanah, will be somewhere else, and that next year in Rosh Hashanah, you will be planning on coming to Israel for our, hopefully, conference. We want to do an international conference because we will be celebrating 100 years anniversary of Na'amat. So let us be healthy and optimistic, and really, and thank you so much for all your efforts, and because we really appreciate it, and we need it so much for our families and women and children. So we really, really appreciate, and every dollar that you are able, to contribute and to do fundraising, we make of every dollar $3. We do our best. We really are doing our best. And many times, even if you send a part, for example, contribution to a daycare center, and it needs more, we are doing our best to put more funding and to get, and in order to make it the best we can for the welfare of our children. So we really appreciate so much. And I thank all of you and really wish you Shana Tova u'metuka.
Shana Tova. Happiness. Chag Sameach and Laila Tov.
Laila Tov.
Thank you so much, Shirley.
Thank you so much. Laila Tov, warm regards.
Thank you.
And a big hug. Take care. Bye bye, להתראות. לילה טוב.